All right, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Akeem here to give you my final draft grades for the 2017 NFL Draft, wrapping things up with the AFC North Division. Now, I'm going to start things off with Ozzie Newsome and the Baltimore Ravens. Newsome's known for doing such a great job as a general manager, helping the team win two Super Bowls, and due to his efforts in the draft picks that he selects. Now, let's start off with the first round pick. This was a little bit of a reach in some people's opinion, and Marlon Humphrey out of Alabama to looking to try to help things out in the secondary. Jimmy Smith sometimes is inconsistent and he can use some help at cornerback. In the second round, they picked up Tyus Bowser, the outside linebacker coming out of Houston. I think this is a pretty good chance. This is a pretty good selection. I think he could become a decent pass rusher at the next level and to help out along the pass defense. Next up in the third round, they picked up Chris Wormley, the defensive end / defensive tackle coming out of Michigan. I think this was a good pick at this selection. I believe that he will play defensive tackle at the next level. In the third round, sticking on the defensive side, they picked up Tim Williams out of Alabama. This is a great pass rusher. Hopefully he would live up to his great pass rushing ability, unlike former Alabama Tide member and Courtney Upshaw. In the fourth round, they picked up Nico Siragusa, the son of Tony Siragusa, and he is the guard of from San Diego State. I think he would be a good starter for the offensive line. I thought they could have went with Forrest Lamp in the first round selection, but I did like the selection of Nico Siragusa. In the fifth round, they picked up Jermaine Elamuna, offensive tackle coming out of Texas A&M. He's a decent player, as well as their final pick in Chuck Clark, the defensive back out of Virginia Tech. He is okay. Now, overall for the Ravens, I really think they should have went with a wide receiver to help out the receiving core, but I believe things messed up when John Ross was selected by the Cincinnati Bengals, a rival of the Baltimore Ravens in the same division. So overall for this team, I'm actually going to give them a B- because they didn't really try to address too much as far as the skill players on the offensive side. Next up is it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to have to go with them next, the rival of the Ravens. Their first round selection was a little bit of a shocker. They reached out for T.J. Watt, the brother of J.J. Watt, with their first round pick out of Wisconsin. I think they're looking at him because of his pass rushing ability, and he is coming off of a good season, but I'm not sure if he's going to far up like his big brother has at Houston. Next up in the second round, I did like the selection in Juju Smith-Schuster out of USC. Definitely is a good help out in the receiving core because of how Martavis Bryant is very inconsistent whether he's going to play or not, trying to stay out of trouble. I think that Schuster could be a great complement of Antonio Brown and company. Next up in the third round, they went with the cornerback from Tennessee and Cameron Sutton. Now his highlight reels has a lot of great plays, and he could definitely have good ball hawking skills, and he has incredible instincts, which I do like about him. Next up in the third round, and they're staying in the third round, they picked up James Conner out of Pitt. I kind of like this selection because he definitely showed his ability, particularly when he was the ACC Player of the Year in 2015, overcame a cancer that he had to deal with, but then he came back and he had a decent season this past year, and he could be a physical running back to complement Le'Veon Bell. In the fourth round, they picked up Joshua Dobbs out of Tennessee. Hopefully he could take over the throne at quarterback and replace Ben Roethlisberger when he retires. In the fifth round, Brian Allen, they picked up a defensive back out of Utah. That's an okay selection. Sixth round, they went with Colin Harbaugh, the long snapper from Louisville, for special teams, and Keon Adams was their final selection, defensive end out of Michigan. Hopefully he can make the 53-man roster. Now overall for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the pick of the T.J. Watt selection, a little bit of a head scratcher for me in this, and he can work in the 3-4 scheme as a 3-4 outside linebacker. We will see though, but because of that selection, I'm a little bit skeptical in this one. I'm actually going to have to give this team a C+. Actually a B-. I'm going to give him B- and be nice about that. Next up is the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, their first round selection, they actually went with they actually went with John Ross, the wide receiver coming out of Washington. This which is a little bit of a shocker because I thought they was going to go with Reuben Foster out of Alabama because they do need some help in the linebacking core, and Foster was the better overall prospect. In the second round, now this definitely raised a lot of eyebrows because of the particular player that they selected at running back, and Joe Mixon out of Oklahoma. Now because of the situation where he hit a young lady when he was 19 as a freshman, that definitely draw a lot of red flags for him. I think he overcame that. I think he's a good athlete. I actually do like the selection, but a lot of people will disagree. In the third round, they went with Jordan Willis, the linebacker coming out of Kansas State. He was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, and he definitely is well deserved. This was a good selection, good value pick at the third round. They picked up Carl Lawson in the fourth round out of Auburn, which was a great selection as well as far as the value. Fourth round, they went with, staying in the fourth round, we went with Josh Allen, the receiver coming out of Tennessee. I think they could have tried to get Chad Williams out of Grambling or a better receiver. In the fourth round, staying in the fourth round with their third pick in the fourth round, Ryan Glasgow out of Michigan. They did have a lot of selections in this year's draft for Pittsburgh Steelers, so I have to give them a lot of credit with that. Fifth round, they went with Jake Elliott, kicker from Memphis, which is a good selection to help out special teams. J.J. Dillman was the center. They also picked in the fifth round out of Utah. Sixth round, they had two selections with Jordan Evans, linebacker from Oklahoma, and running back Brandon Wilson out of Houston. I think this was a wasted selection with Brandon Wilson, but we will see. Mason Schrick out of tight end out of Buffalo. He was the final selection in the seventh round. Now, we'll have to give the Cincinnati Bengals a lot of credit. They did get a lot of picks this year's draft, and because of that, I'm actually going to give them a solid B because of the many of the selections. Now, all the selections I will not disagree, particularly with John Ross, but I do understand picking up John Ross as a slot receiver to complement A.J. Green. We will see this kid can give you some good yardage after the catch. So I will give this team a solid B for their efforts. Lastly and not least, I do believe that they had the best draft class out of the entire NFC North Division is the Cleveland Browns. First overall selection, they went with Myles Garrett out of Texas A&M. That was everybody's pick for the Browns off of everybody's mock draft board. They do need a premier pass rusher, and he is a freak. He should be a Pro Bowler as a rookie, possibly Defensive Rookie of the Year honors. In this first round pick, they also had another selection in the first round pick, number 25. They picked up Jabril Peppers out of Michigan. They're going to use him as a safety, and I think they stayed in the course of working on the defensive unit. Headed over to the offensive side, David Njoku out of Miami. I think this was a good pick in the first round as well. They actually had 3 picks in the first round. Kudos to them. They did a great job. They finally addressed the quarterback position in Deshaun Kaiser out of Notre Dame, and I'm going to continue to say this, out of all the quarterbacks entering this year's draft, I believe that Kaiser has the most potential. I actually love this pick. In the third round, they went with Larry Ogunjobi, the defensive tackle out of North Carolina Charlotte. Good player as well. Howard Wilson was a cornerback out of Houston. They picked in the fourth round. Fifth round, they picked up Roderick Johnson out of Florida State. Don't really think he's going to fare too well in the NFL. Caleb Brantley was their sixth round selection out of Florida. This was a great value pick. Zane Gonzalez was their seventh round pick, a kicker out of Arizona State. Hopefully he can make the team and be the premier kicker. And Matt Days out of North Carolina. Now, Matt Days is a great player when he is healthy. He is very effective for the Wolfpack when he can give you 5.5 yards per carry. I actually hope that he makes his roster to help build depth at running back, and he possibly could get a chance of become a starter. Seriously, Duke Johnson is more of a part of a tandem, and I do like Isaiah Crowell. He's a tough running back, but he could use a running mate, and then Days can be that guy, or possibly Duke Johnson to battle things out for number 2, but we will see. But overall for the Browns, I'm actually going to give them an A-. They did a great job this year, and I will have to give them a lot of credit. They did have the best draft class of the AFC North Division. Now that finally wraps things up with the NFL. The next time I'm going to catch you guys will be in the month of July, in which I will start giving you my previews of college football for the 2017 season. See you guys in a couple of months. Thank you for watching today's vlogs. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.